everyone, and welcome to Video Waves. I'm your host, Camille Kasrick, and today we are very lucky to be joined by Mr. Sam Malone from Cat Country 96. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for the nice words.
It's
nice
our
welcome.
pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Let's start things off by telling us, how long have you been at Cat Country?
I have been with Cat Country since the beginning, which was 1997.
Okay.
We were an adult contemporary station before then, which was 96 WLEV. Flip format in 1997. I was there before we were country, so technically since about 1992.
So you've been there through it all since the beginning of Cat Country?
Yeah, actually I began with my internship right here at Northampton Community
Really?
College and was lucky enough to go through everything and,
wow, that's awesome.
now in the morning show, yeah.
That's cool. So how long have you been in the radio industry then?
Technically since I think it was 92, 91, 92.
So since the beginning of Cat Country then?
Since before Cat Country.
Since before Cat Country, okay. What inspired you to go into radio, and do you have any influences?
Well, yeah, there's a couple different stories. I don't know how much time you have, but there's a few people that really, I don't know if you're a fan of sports.
Moderately.
If you're a sports fan. There is a guy by the name of Harry Callis, who is the Phillies broadcaster, who passed away in 2009. And when the Phillies weren't good, back another time, they never really put a lot of their games on TV. So I had to listen to a lot of the games on the radio. Same with the Eagles and Merrill Reese, who's their radio announcer. I wanted to be like them, to not necessarily do sports, but I'd like to have people listen to what I'm saying and try to make some kind of change and
have your ideas broadcast so other people. Okay.
Yeah, just it sounded like a fun thing to do, and it's just I had a chance to do a few sporting events, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, those are pretty much that's the reason why I wanted to, because at one time the Eagles weren't all that good, and they'd black out a lot of the games, and you had to listen to it on radio. Okay. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to get into it on radio.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you went to our program here at Northampton Community College. What was your experience like here?
Oh, I absolutely loved it. This was a lot of fun. Even doing shows like this, it was just, coming back here 20-some years later, it's just so different, and just to see how it's built up. But the time I was here, it was really nice because we were all in the same, it was like a family. I hope it's the same now. I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I love it.
Our classes were like families because we all wanted to do the same thing, and we all helped each other out, and it was just so much fun. As I was just going through the buildings now, it was like all the memories came back. There's nothing but good memories. It was such a good time.
That's awesome. Yeah. So getting your first job in radio then after graduating here, was it easy? Did you have a difficult time like getting a job?
I wouldn't say it was a difficult time, and it wasn't easy. I got a little, like I said, with the internship here, after the internship, lucky enough to get a part-time, to stay on part-time. One of my first jobs actually was a mascot.
Oh, really?
We had a lion mascot before we were Cat Country. It was the WLEV lion, and I had to dress up in the lion costume. And you go out to live broadcasts, and when you do that, you're also watching how a live broadcast is done. You're learning how to set things up for live stuff. So you're not just out there in a mascot. I mean, you're there part of the time doing that, but you learn a lot while you're doing that.
So even though you're in the mascot, you can see behind the scenes and learn what's going on.
Because before you even get up in the suit, you're helping with the setup.
Yeah.
And you're learning about, you go find the equipment that you need. Why is this day different from another day? Why are we bringing this today and not tomorrow? And you learn everything at an early age too.
Okay, and I'm sure a lot of it's like different situations all the time. Nothing's ever going to be the same.
Correct.
You learn on the job all the time.
You learn, what do you do if the mic you bring isn't working and you don't have a backup? Well, the first thing you learn there is you better have a backup.
Yeah.
So you'll learn different, well, this worked before, it should be fine. No, you can't assume. You should test it when you're going out of a live location. Yeah. And those are the things you learn, and a lot of times you learn them the hard way.
I bet.
Of things not working or things not going the way that it was planned.
Yeah. Okay, so can you take us through what like a typical day at Cat Country is like?
A typical day at Cat Country or morning show? Because I'm out of there about 11:30.
Yeah, so, kind of what your morning is
like.
I'll
wake up around 3:30 in the morning. Fridays I sleep until 4. That's a little secret. But we'll get there. It's changed a little bit because at one time we had to go out and get like 3 or 4 or 5 different newspapers to do our prep. Now with everything online, you don't necessarily have to stop for the newspapers as much as you used to. We sign on the air at 5 o'clock every morning, and we do our show from 5 until 10.
Is that Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday.
Okay.
We do Monday through Friday, 5 until 10. Our show is very open to callers. We get a lot of our show prep through callers. we'll bring up a topic, they'll bring up a topic. We're a family-friendly radio station. We have fun, but we have to remember that there's kids that are listening too. On their way, maybe mom and dad are taking them to
On the way to school.
wherever.
Yeah.
So you have that fine line. You know, you have fun, but we're a very family-friendly radio station. And once we get off the air at 10 o'clock, I'm also the production director.
Okay.
So when you get off the air at 10 o'clock, I have to go see what commercials are due, what commercials to produce, to start assigning them to the other jocks of who's best at what commercial.
Okay.
It doesn't take long to do that, but you have to really know who's best. Like if there's a commercial for, I don't know, think of something that typically a guy would do. You probably want to assign that to a guy.
Yeah.
Same with a girl, and you try to best fit for the client
And
because
the
you're looking out.
demographics.
Yeah, and you look out for the
Okay.
client as well, for their best interests. And then I'll do some imaging for the radio station, which is things you hear between the songs. You know, hey, next week, listen, because things like that.
Yeah.
So typically, I'll get out of there, like I said, around 11:30 or so. And there's also prep for tomorrow, for the next day, I should say. You don't want to go in blind. You have an idea. of what
Okay.
we're doing. Yeah.
And then you work with your co-host Becca.
Right.
What's it like working with her?
Well, this coming September will be 12 years that her and I have been on the morning show together.
Oh wow, so you're
it's
really
been-
close then.
We are very close. What's it like? Well, people call it a marriage on the radio, which I understand now more than ever. We have such a good time. We really do. Sometimes we have too much fun, but there's the other times that's you're going to have your differences,
Yeah.
which is very rare, I must add, between
Oh, that's
the two
good.
of us.
That's
Yeah,
really good.
very rare. We just have this connection, and she's like a sister. It's that type of relationship. It's
That's
just
good.
it really is.
It makes the job easier.
It
I
does.
bet, yeah.
A lot of times we'll finish each other's thoughts, which comes great across the air because we get along so well. A lot of times you'll find morning shows that are just thrown in and don't necessarily have that. And,
Yeah.
and with us, it's something really special that hopefully this will continue for a long time. But she's great.
That's
She's
great.
awesome.
I'm
I couldn't
sure
ask for anyone better or anyone else.
that's good.
Yeah.
I'm sure that makes the audience want to keep coming back and listening, knowing it's such like a good environment. You guys are so comfortable
I hope.
together.
Absolutely, I hope so. And great country music too.
Yeah. And then since you're on a really popular show, kind of a high-profile show, do you ever feel pressure entertaining the audience, or does it always just come naturally?
No, there's times when, in personal life, you're not necessarily up to it, and you have to dig deep. You have to find a way to get it out. I mean, the last thing I want to hear when I'm tuning a radio is somebody depressed and boring.
Yeah.
You don't want that. You have enough going on in your life. You want someone that's at least going to make you laugh a little bit, or not even necessarily make you laugh, but at least be there with you, and maybe talk about something of interest. So there are days where, personal life, nobody cares, basically.
Yeah.
You can't, people listening don't care that last night this happened to them. So you got to push that aside for 4 hours or 5 hours, and you just got to entertain and do the best you can.
Yeah.
And then, one of the toughest things for me is actually, and I realize I'm a grown man saying this, but when the Eagles lose, I take that with me, and that I have a hard time, putting that aside.
Discerning that,
But the
yeah.
listeners know me, and they know I'm an Eagle fan, and they'll call and they'll give me a hard
Talk to you
time.
about it,
Sure,
yeah.
and that's what makes it even more fun.
That's good that you have like the audience interaction
Absolutely.
like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, and then how have like any of your past experiences at Cat Country and then before it was Cat Country, how has that helped you to better what you're doing today?
Well, you're always learning every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day you're going to learn. Whether you want to fight it or not, you'll learn something every day. Past experiences. I guess things that work and things that don't work. Do you mean on the air necessarily?
On
or?
the air, behind the scenes, getting things set up, promotional stuff, any kind of thing that you have to do?
Being prepared. One thing that I know, I don't want to speak for Becca, but I know she would say the same thing. One thing you don't want to do is don't pretend you know something if you don't. I'll give you an example. Last night on American Idol, and I'm reading. People will know you're reading it. Be honest. Say, hey, I missed
Yeah.
American Idol last night. What happened? They'll call in and tell us what happened, rather than us trying to, and then we're reading through a website.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Be real. Be who you are. If you're gonna fake it, people call you out on it. It's be the same person. I want to be known as your friend that's listening to me right now. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then to wrap things up here, for my fellow radio TV students or anyone else who's interested in working in radio, what advice can you give?
Well, wait till I retire, please, so you don't. Some of the advice would be especially in your early, just getting involved. Do whatever you can. Do whatever you can. If you have to work Christmas, Easter, I know it's tough, but you're not always going to have to do that. But if you're going to have to do that every now and again, especially early on, show them you want to be there. If you have to work a midnight to 6 doing something, and then they ask you to be there 11 o'clock the next morning, well, you're only going to get a couple hours sleep, but try to do as much as you possibly can. Try to be there. You know, one of the things that I learned is if this is early on, if you constantly show up, even if you're not scheduled or you're not scheduled to do anything, just keep yourself out there. Let them know you're there.
Yeah, that does make a difference.
Yeah,
so your name's always out there and they can rely on you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even as something as, we need somebody to fill up the gas for the vans. I'll do it.
Yeah.
You know, keep yourself, do whatever they ask.
All right,
that you possibly can.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much for
You're
joining
welcome.
us today. It was
No
a pleasure
problem. Thank you very
to
much.
have you on
Thank
today,
you much.
sharing your experiences and your stories.
Thank you.
Okay, and thank you guys for watching Video Waves today. We'll see you next time.